This is Smarter San Diego TV.
Millennials and baby boomers alike, they want to be in urban environments right now.
Thank God for the Electoral College vote.
In a 4-hour breakfast, we raised $9,000. So that's something that we take pretty seriously.
And you can't diet your way into being lean and fit. They go together.
In New York City, deciding what's best for the rest of the freaking country.
This is not a market built on a stack of cards. It's a solid foundation.
0%. That is a thumbs up.
Everyone has a life worth telling a story about. And the more adversity that you faced, the deeper your story.
Well, am I going to be okay? You know, like, am I going to be able to walk?
There's just so much creativity in this town that it's hard to hide it.
Well, you have these beliefs, well, what do you do with it?
Very competitive home market, so our next guest is here to make sure you don't overpay when buying your home. Please welcome real estate professional from Whissel Realty, Joe Corbisiero.
There he is, El Nazo! Joe Corbisiero.
What's El Nazo? Tell them.
The Nose.
That's right.
Joe the Nose in the house. Great to have you here, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
This is a crazy market. Also, we're going to preview for the first time the next episode of Little Slice of Italy.
That's right.
Where are we going for that?
We're featuring Solunto in Little Italy on India Street.
Okay, so stick around for that. That's coming up in a second. But right now, we're going to tell you about how to buy a home in a competitive market like this. This is serious stuff right now. I mean, people are overpaying for properties all over the place. Great for home sellers. But Joe, how do I, as a home buyer, go out into this market and purchase a home without overpaying?
So I'm going to be sharing a few secrets, which I don't know is a good thing to do now, but this is what we do. So most of the agents are going to be sending the buyers just what's in the MLS, right? So what we've been doing is going a little deeper. So we're looking at what was expired in the last year or two, what was withdrawn, canceled, for sale by owners, okay, and also Make Me Move on Zillow. So when we start looking at this other inventory, I call it, that's off the market inventory, you have a tendency not to have multiple offers on it. Does that make sense?
So you're talking about looking at houses that were for sale that came off the market.
That's right.
They didn't sell.
Correct.
Or homeowners who are saying, make me move, meaning I don't want to go through the whole process of putting it
on the market,
but bring me an offer, get me interested.
Correct.
So these are what we would call, maybe they're not hot leads, but they're maybe warm or lukewarm.
Correct.
So you're taking the effort to go to them and say, hey, I've got a buyer.
Yeah. Obviously, we want to make sure on the other end, the other spectrum with the buyer has to have not anymore a pre-qualification letter or a pre-approval letter. We need to have a DU approval. So when you have an underwriting approval in hand, basically you just need to find the property. So that's an important thing. Next step is, instead of writing just a simple letter and send it to the sellers, we're taking videos. I want to create that emotional attachment between the buyer and the seller.
So if I'm your buyer, what you're saying is you're taking a video of me saying, hey, I really want to buy your house. Yeah. This is why.
Well, I have a script for it. It's a little different than
that. I had a feeling.
Well, I would love to have your daughter with you.
Gotcha.
And your fiancé. And, I would love to become a homeowner of this magnificent property that you've been owning for the past few years and really take care in the same way you've done it for the past few years. Therefore, I would love the opportunity to buy your house. So, create the emotional attachment. Your daughter will say something. You want to see, your family growing in the house and whatnot.
Is it true, though, Joe, that in this market that sellers are very transactional? I mean, are you
not necessarily.
No?
No. You might have a lot of people, it's all about the dollar amount, but there's, that about personality types, DISC, right? There's some people that are drivers like us, it's all about bottom line. We want to get it sold to one no, but there's, I want to say another 40% or 50% of the population that they actually have their emotional attachment. They want to
they want to feel good about it versus just something else.
I mean, they get good money anyways. It's not about...
Yeah, they're not getting ripped off.
You're not leaving any money on the table. So you just want to create that emotional attachment between a buyer and a seller so you have a better chance. The other thing, that's happening, I know other agents have been talking about this, waiving the appraisal contingency and whatnot. I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, if there is a multiple scenario, multiple offer scenario, I could probably go with it, but there's always a strategy to get out of the deal. So you're not, unfortunately, just stuck with that. Not unfortunately, you're not just stuck with that property, even if the appraisal is going to come lower.
Okay. So scouring for essentially off-market properties or fresh inventory, unknown inventory, creating the emotional attachment. What about, you know, for buyers who are like, yeah, but I want to be in a very specific area. You know, like I really want to be in this zip code. I really want to be in this school district. Does something like that work if you have such specific needs?
So, as you know, I have a team. So we're a few of us working, and we work on the same client or the same buyer. So what we do is when we sit down and we do a full-on consultation, which lasts an hour and a half, we really try to understand their lifestyles, you know, the buyer's lifestyle and their needs and wants. And we do want a commitment. If you want us to find a house, you have to be committed to work with us only. So when we have that, what we do actually, we create flyers as well, and we start door knocking the neighborhood. If you like a specific area, we'll find the inventory. I mean, it's no guarantee we're going to find the house, but trust me, we had situations when there's somebody that, you know, said it's person already pre-approved. I don't have to pay 2 fees to sell the house, so I get you a better deal now. So it works. It just takes a lot of work. That's what it is.
Yeah, hustle.
You have to hustle.
Takes hustle.
Especially in this market. You have to be creative.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because I think a lot of buyers are honestly discouraged.
I don't blame them. I mean, it's normal. You have multiple offers for 1-2 days on the market, especially if you're in that price bracket 400 to, I should say 300, all the way to 650, 700,000. It's incredible.
Well, I mean, what we're seeing is, and I think if you're a buyer out in the marketplace, you can probably attest to this, is that, you know, you'll go out there and you'll put an offer in and you'll think you're like being ridiculous. You're offering $10,000 over list price. I'm being ridiculous. Probably way the highest offer. They come back final and best. You go another $10,000 thinking you're being ridiculous and someone beat you by 30 grand. Yeah. That's what's happening out there. The problem is this is what creates the mania, right? Because as soon as that starts happening, now I've gone through this process twice. I've fallen in love with 2 houses and didn't get them. Now I'm the guy who's going to do something stupid. Now I just became the guy who's going to buy that house. I'm going to put an offer in that's ridiculous, way over.
Right.
And, you know, it's great for the seller, but I've now done that to myself because I keep trying to go through the front door. And what you're saying is, listen, the front door is very crowded.
It is.
It's crowded. So we got to find the side entrance, like the clubs.
That's right. That's right. You got, you know, the bouncer go on the side.
You got to go to the side.
That's right.
That's kind of what you're saying.
It's the same thing. Yeah. I mean, another option is always looking for sale by owners. Look, there's not many agents that they take the time to actually talk to a for sale by owner. There's great deals out there still on for sale by owner. And the other option too that I found really good, honestly, is when there's some properties that are overpriced and they've been on the market for a long time. Even if out of your budget, let's say $30,000, $40,000, there's an opportunity there. If it's been on the market for 4 months, 5 months, there are some properties that are still on the market 4 or 5 months because you have, I should say, not a very professional listing agent collaborating with. So they took probably pictures with their cell phone, and the toilet seat was open, and there was a mess everywhere. So that house is not selling for that reason, because it hasn't been marketed properly, and it's overpriced. The listing agent did not recommend a good price strategy. That's a great deal. That's what I go. You know, I bring my buyer, excuse me, and we'll look into that property. We'll make sure we can, you know, we can do something with it. Even if we put an offer 30, 40,000 less, I know there's no offers on the table.
Yeah, well, very, very true. And in fact, we recently shot an episode of Win This Listing where the house was actually amazing, but they tried to sell it twice and had just picked They picked the inexperienced family member for their first deal. Yeah. That didn't work. Then they went and picked a lady who'd been a broker since 1982. She was a dinosaur, to say the least. Terrible. And this is a great house. So fortunately, in their case, they reached out to Win This Listing, and so they're going to be in good hands now. But I could easily see where if they weren't, you know, that would become a deal, you know, for a buyer. So they're out there. They are. Even in this crazy market, they are out there. You just have to know what you're doing. And if you want to buy a house the right way, your representation really does matter.
Absolutely. 100%.
Really, really does. And of course, Joe Corbisiero with Whissel Realty, now #1 on Zillow,
Wall Street Journal,
and according to the Wall Street Journal. So #1 on both. That is incredible stuff, man.
Yes.
Really, really, really good stuff. We're going to jump to a little slice of Italy right now, right?
That's right.
Give us a little preview of what we're about to see.
So, I mean, this show, it's dedicated to consumers that they really want to try the authentic Italian cuisine. So I've been interviewing different restaurants, and Solunto has been probably one of the best. I mean, Paolo, which is the general manager at the restaurant, is one of the nicest guy I ever met. Such a nice man. Seriously, it's just, you can see it's a big heart. You can see the authentic Italian customer service, you know, that we used to have back in the 80s in Italy. He's like that, such a cool guy. Amazing bread. I think it's probably better than Italy, honestly. The bread that I tried in that place, it was better than Italy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot, dude.
It's insane. I mean, they have some specialty bread from Sicily and whatnot. It was
Jade, is that true? Was the bread that good?
It was amazing.
We had the pizza there. The pizza was phenomenal. Oh my. I was on a diet. Yeah. I'm telling you, I was blown away.
Well, I've heard enough. Let's take it now to Joe and Pablo.
Cheers, Paolo. Welcome, guys. We're here at Solunto today in Little Italy. Your host, Joe Corbisiero, and we're welcoming here Paolo.
Paolo, my name is Paolo. Ciao.
Solunto, #1. What's Solunto? How did they come up with this name?
Well, that's easy. Solunto is a little town in Sicily, and the previous owner was his name was Mario Cefalo. So it was the Cefalo family was owning the place, and for more probably than 65 years already, he was going with the place and making good bread, good food, and everything. So after that, unfortunately, he passed away in 2007, and they sold the place. They sold it to Antonino Mastellone, which is the business manager and owner of the Solunto. Antonino is owning also other restaurant in San Diego area and decided to redo the place. So a big remodeling for the place, and now here we are after a year.
Okay, it's super cute. I mean, it's not it feels intimate. You have a lot of variety here, which I really like, and I see you have a pizza oven in there too.
Excellent,
super cool.
Our pizza oven, the guy Massimo and Emanuele, they make fantastic pizza. They make it Napolitan style. So Napolitan style means it's not like very crispy and crusty like the American style, but it's a little bit chewier and softer.
Damn, I can't wait to go in the kitchen and check it out.
Absolutely.
Cool, let's go in.
All right.
So is this like San Marzano special sauce?
This is San Marzano tomato, yeah.
Like
with the fior di latte mozzarella.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we are very picky with that, you know.
You can tell it's like nice and rich. I like it. I feel like at home right now. Like I'm back to Naples.
There you go.
Super cool. Nice chef. Love it. So now it's gonna cook. When I like something, I put the bib on, and I think I'm gonna try this one. Paolo. This is good. I told you I was on a diet, but I think I'm cheating today.
Just try, please.
The sausage, a little bit of fennel in there is amazing. Wow. Is this imported too, the sausage, or they're local?
It's local.
So good.
So it's local, yeah.
I'm really impressed, man. I didn't know you made such a good pizza here.
Thank you.
It's crazy. So Paolo, over here we got tiramisu, cassata. Oh my gosh, man! I feel like I'm at Disneyland for a minute.
Cassatine over there.
Oh my! Baba, no kidding! You got baba too?
Sicilian cannoli.
What's in the baba? Tell people here in San Diego. What's a baba?
It's very typical from Naples. It's a dessert made like similar to a sponge cake. It's soaked into the rum.
Right.
I mean, more than a rum, it's like a juice made with rum, orange juice, lemon juice, and other spices.
Okay,
typical from Naples.
I can tell this is authentic cuisine, Italian cuisine, the real traditional deal.
Thank
now, tell people out there where you're located and anything else you would like to tell them.
We are located in the heart of Little Italy at 1643 India Street between Cedar and Day, so that's the block. Come and visit us. I mean, there's a variety of everything, starting from the gelato to the desserts to all the cookies and all the goods, the baking goods.
People can virtually come here in the morning and have breakfast, you know, with amazing coffee that you made. And, you know, they can have croissants or graffé or donuts, whatever they want to call it.
They can even stay all day.
Exactly, and then you get a sandwich and then have dinner, pizza, whatever else you have to offer here.
Sure.
So guys, come visit here, Solunto. This is Joe Corbisiero, your friend, a real estate professional. Thank you for watching, and once again, Paolo, grazie.
Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you.
Ciao.
You may be surprised to know that skate parks are actually a boost for our San Diego communities. Here with more is the mortgage geek, Sean Cahan, and his special guest from the Avenue Home Collective, Ian Hoey.
Bam! And here they are in the house. Yes. The mortgage geek is back. Everybody.
I forgot my glasses.
There son of a gun. I remember mine. I'll do it for you.
Can I have them? I need LASIK. So
Ian Hoey, great to have you here, my friend.
Thank you. First time, stoked.
Yes, this is your board.
Yes, it is.
You actually wrote in on this thing.
I did write in on this thing, yes, absolutely.
That's cool, man.
Without injuring myself, which is good.
That's sweet. You know, this is an interesting topic because, I mean, I think a lot of people know Tony Hawk's like in our backyard. He's in like what, Carlsbad?
Yeah.
Like has a cool deal in his backyard. If you ever take a helicopter flight out of Palomar, you can like fly right over his house.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome.
That's next level stuff.
That's next level.
That's great. His son's a pro too, a legitimate pro.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
It's right in the bloodline. He's killing it.
That's awesome. And you know, the thing about skating is that it's one of those things that started kind of like rock and roll. At first, it was like you had to be a bad boy, or you know, it had this stigma to it.
Totally.
It was like only like this certain type of people are doing it. But now it's become one of those things where it's a really good thing. And these skate parks specifically that are going into these different communities are making a huge positive impact.
Huge, yeah. And they start off being a stigma because before, like a Jay Adams, for example, from the 70s, iconic skater, he was basically seen as a thug or a criminal. And that mentality kind of stuck through the 70s and 80s and 90s until now. And I mean, I remember being in high school and our favorite thing was the Santa Cruz skateboarding is not a crime sticker. Because everywhere we went, it was like illegal to skateboard. So we would just crave skate parks. And it took 10,000 signatures. It took the community to be okay with it, which they weren't because they thought we were just going to, I don't know, be delinquents and
smoke cigarettes.
Smoke cigarettes. Yeah. You know, get someone to buy booze for us, something which I never did personally. You know, like the same mentality around that. But it's a lot different now for sure.
And you guys are great examples. Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, Sean, top loan officer in San Diego, skater, right? Ian, real estate expert, skater. You guys are
one of the better looking guys in San Diego. Yeah. Can I get one of those? I'm just kidding. I need to shave first, man.
So I mean, it's like, you know, I guess for that piece right there, for all the parents out there, for your kids who are wanting to go to the skate park or who are skating on the streets, it doesn't mean they're gonna become like hooligans and like be thrown in jail someday. There's still some people who think that, but that's not at all what's happening. In fact, it used to be that getting the skate parks in these communities was a real challenge. Now the communities are begging for the skate parks.
Yep.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's a great place for like the children and like the teenagers and even like the grown-ups to actually go, and they all like just have a really good time, like, you know, common denominator, hey, we're all here to go, like, hey, to skate park. And also it kind of takes away from the skating can hurt public and actual privately owned like commercial spaces by like, you know, like the curbs and the rails and all that kind of stuff, which you know, negative, it's nothing against it, but it can do that. And so that's how like the older generation, like my parents, are like, oh, they're ruining our stairs and they're ruining these things. And it's like, well, wait a second here. Let's build a park. They can go and do, you know, everything actually at the park still have a really good time, but you know, not kind of in their eyes ruining the commercial spaces.
Yeah.
Type,
well, yeah, because it's like, I mean, for anyone
So.
who's snowboarded or skied, or you know, you get to a certain point and you're always looking for that next level, right? So like you figure that trick out, and then or you get that mountain down, and then that run, and then you're looking for the next one, the next one, the next one. And when your playground is the streets of a neighborhood, you know, those next levels get into people's stuff pretty quick.
Yeah.
But if you have a cool skate park set up, you can go get your next twist done there. Like you can go find the next level there every day.
Yep.
And then
You'll never out skate the actual park.
Right.
Exactly.
Like the
Yeah.
Mammoth
You'll never
Park
conquer
is
it.
epic. It's crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, that was designed by some of like the best skaters. I mean, that is like, if you're a pro, that thing will still like actually ruin you.
Yeah, yeah, it will. It will too. And just to expand on that a little bit, yeah, it gives, especially with younger parents now who are buying homes and looking for skate parks in areas, it's a good family fun thing. There's like soccer moms and soccer dads, but now there's actually skate moms and skate dads. It's actually a pretty lucrative career now. Like a pro skateboarder makes an average of 6 figures. The industry pulls in about $5 billion a year. It's more than just like a leisure activity now, where there's like skateboarders who are practicing so they can be sponsored, so they can eventually have a career in skateboarding, because sponsorships, doing like the Do Tour, or being associated with any kind of the tours they have right now, it's super lucrative. And as a matter of fact, last year they announced skateboarding as the Olympics in 2020
I heard
in
that
Tokyo.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it's become
What
that
event
big.
are they going to do? Do we know?
I think they're going to do street, and then they're going to do some kind of transition or ramp.
Okay.
But it's one of the reasons why the pro skater Nigel Houston left DC to go on to Nike, so they can have him as a premier endorser, pay him a ton of money, which is one of the biggest companies, third biggest company in the world right now, just to push their ship for skateboarding, which is just becoming this massive like vehicle. But having these skate parks gives that outlet for kids. And I mean, if you don't have a skate park, the city becomes a skate park, and then you ruin private property, you ruin commercial property. To have them focus in a certain spot where they can just be creative, it's like their canvas, like their studio, as opposed to, you know, going everywhere they can, which is part of the element of skateboarding, I won't lie. I mean, I've jumped a few fences in my time, but having a skate park was easier for us just to meet up on a Saturday and hang out.
Totally, and it's also cool entertainment for people if you want to come see people trying crazy stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a great place
and get
to do
hurt.
it.
I mean, let's just be honest. Sometimes when someone takes a pretty hard slam, you're like, oh, dang.
People love it, dude.
It is kind of funny.
Like, people love it. That's
like,
America's
sorry,
Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know, just all day. Like that's what it is. So you get a lot from these skate parks. Obviously, improving communities. Some of the best communities in San Diego now have these.
Yep.
A lot of the better communities in San Diego now wanting these. So I think that we're kind of over the hump. Do you guys feel like we're over the hump, or do you feel like there's still a little fight left there?
100%. There used to be a handful of skate parks in San Diego. I believe we're at 35 now and growing. And as a matter of fact, they're revamping old parks like Kit Carson, Escondido, they're going to redo. And just in my community alone, when we had 1 or 2, now there's one in Poway, Carmel Valley, Carlsbad, like you name it, 15, 20 minutes you could find a skate park. And they're always based around growing communities. The one in Carmel Valley is right next to condo complexes, next to homes, next to a shopping center. So yeah, if anything, I think we're over the hump. And actually they're building, in 2017, they're building the biggest skate park in our county in Linda Vista, and it's going to be 34,000 square feet. And I think they're going to invest about $4 million into it. So if that doesn't tell you that there's a presence in the skateboard, you know, activity or just skate parks in general, then I mean, I don't know what is.
I mean, Encinitas YMCA.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's.
Which is a legit YMCA too.
Yeah, I mean,
legit.
Like it's great. I mean, they're jumping on and you know, allowing these kids to kind of have the opportunity to have something close by that the parents are not having to like drive like an hour or 30 minutes. And that's another thing too that you know, people are looking at when they're, you know, Poway is a great school district, but what are they going to do after school? Right?
Yeah.
Super important when you have teenagers and work, you know, every day. What's also needed, just industry-wise, is how many different kinds of boards there are now.
Oh yeah.
So they're not just all trick boards. You know, there's boards for everybody. Like if you want a big, lazy board that you can ride with your kid, like it's actually, you know, it's a cool thing you could do. Like you can find those sort of like easy to ride, bigger, lazy. I just call them lazy boards, you know, because that's kind of what it is. Like you don't really want to do anything except for
well,
just
they
like
just
glide.
created like the double bushing like truck, and so on those big boards, so you can like totally carve them out, and like very nimble, but it's a huge board, and they're putting like bamboo where you can just totally get like ripping down the hill too. So it's like really cool where it's actually going.
You're basically surfing.
Yeah.
Technically, you're curb surfing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just don't hit a huge rock, 'cause I've done that before. It's, let me tell you.
I was bombing
it set me
down,
back about 10 years. Like,
I was going down Cash Street.
Where am I?
Down the hill. And I like looked behind me because I was like, yeah, boom. And I think I turned into like a pencil. I was like, whoa! And I just smashed my head. And I went to the hospital because I was like, I don't know if I have a concussion. Like,
till this day, I got a concussion from hitting a rock and skateboarding, and my mom still thinks it's the reason why I forget my wallet and keys. She's like, "Where's your wallet and your keys?" That time 10 years ago when you fell off your board, I'm like, what? I got it from that, got a Slurpee. I was fine. What are you talking about? Anyway.
Well, great stuff, guys. Thank you so much for coming in today. And for everyone out there, hey, if your kids are skating, not such a bad thing. Maybe you should go get a lazy board and join them. And maybe they'll become as successful as these two guys. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. We do it all commercial free.
Our next guest may not be active in the Navy anymore, but they continue to serve our community here in San Diego. Please welcome from Military Mutual, Derek Barksdale and Travis Winfield.
And here they are together for the first time on the set. You guys have been here so many times. For the first time, we finally got you both here at the same time. Derek Barksdale, retired Navy lieutenant. Welcome back.
Glad to be back.
And retired Navy Command Senior Chief.
Correct.
Travis Winfield.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure I got all that correct.
It's a lot.
We appreciate your service to this country, both of you, so much. And now you're continuing to serve those who serve in a number of different ways through the Military Mutual Initiative, which is a huge initiative that you have going on. Derek, what's going on with that?
Oh, wow. Well, you know, the mission is that the Military Mutual Initiative is founded on the sole principle of giving back to our nation's military veterans and their families through PCS and transitional education programs and resources. So, you know, when we started this, we knew we had something there and we knew that there was a need, but wow, once it started, it just kind of took off. And next thing you know, we look back and all the things that we've accomplished, it just, wow, it just really feels so rewarding. And the people that we've been able to align with is just huge. So really wanted to come here today and just say, hey, this is what we got going on, and for the future, what's in store. So
that's awesome.
Really excited.
Yeah, because you guys you've got a lot of things accomplished so far.
Yeah.
Can we talk about some of those things?
Absolutely. Well, geez, let's go back to the symposiums that we do. So we do some first-class petty officer symposiums that actually bring in E6s and the United States Navy together, who are in a transition going on to Chief, which is an E7. And so we help them through some motivational leadership. We've had McPon West, which is the Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy of the past, who came in, provided some motivational speaking. I was actually one of those speakers on that panel as well, so that was very rewarding and lots of great feedback from that. But it goes over and above. We've been a part of Warrior Home, which we've talked about on this show. Warrior Home has finally finished their first episode there, so that'll be coming very, very soon to a theater or station near you.
It's a channel, it's a KUSI deal.
KUSI, yes, absolutely. So the great thing with that is we're taking active duty or post-active duty members who basically got out of the military and they've suffered some trauma in their life. And with Donna Woodrum from the American Cultural Council, we're basically allowing that service member to revitalize their life and restore not only their house, but their life. So been able to do that. We have PCS education. We're actually going to a course today, going to be speaking to some veterans at National University there about first-time home buying, PCS relocation, and just really tying in all of the different things that go well above and beyond just a normal home purchase. And as we move along, we talk about changing stations. You know about changing stations, right?
A little something.
Just a little something. Well, I'll tell you, changing stations has been one of those initiatives that we put forward that is really impacting a lot of people, not only helping them with the sale of their home, but really coordinating movers, ensuring that they have child care development at their new location, employment services for the people that are the spouses going through that. And right now we're even working with a veteran right now in that particular facet who's getting out of the military, and he doesn't know where he's going to work. He has to sell his home because he wasn't able to get a job while he was out here. And now he's moving back to Georgia, but we're going to have him set up so he's set up for success when he gets there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
I know that case particularly, and you know, it's a tough deal. You know, when you get out and you don't know what you're going to do next.
Yeah.
You know, or if he made a lot of attempts to try to find a certain type of gig and couldn't get it done. You know, so providing that assistance is huge. Obviously, in the next chapter of their lives. Travis knows a little bit about that one too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, actually, the good news about that particular story is, I think I just mentioned to you, we just got them into escrow, so we got a really good, positive stepping stone for them done now. They've had some challenges with their other home in Texas, but it's going to be a great story. I'm really excited to see how it comes to fruition.
Yeah, they're all great stories because they're real, and these are real people. You know, Garcia said it best on episode 1, which will be premiering soon. We'll keep you posted, of course. You know, we're regular people too.
Yeah, exactly. People just see the uniform, but we're regular people too.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly the exact quote, and that's something that it's true. We don't think about it that way. You know, I think a lot of people say, "Oh, yeah, they're in the military; they're taken care of. They have a salary, they have this, they have that. You know, they're going to be okay." But when those things change, when life changes because of a PCS or a change in stations, as we call it, where you know, hey, you've got to go from here to here. Your whole life has to be uprooted.
Correct.
And then replanted over there, and that's a big process. It's not as simple as a few phone calls, or like the other one we were just talking about, where there's just a whole life change going on. So many things happening there. So what's some of the stuff that's on the horizon, LT?
Oh wow! Well, I'm going to let Travis talk to some of that, but I'll tell you a lot of the things that we've done in the past. What I've realized, it takes a village. So we've been able to align ourselves with some great nonprofit organizations, American Cultural Council, as we talked about, Reboot, NVTSI. San Diego Dream Center, and one that I don't want to exclude anyone, but one that we're really excited about, and I want Travis to introduce that relationship and that partnership because I think it's critical to our future here. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and I guess that's the really exciting part about what we're doing. You know, it's all in the name, Military Mutual Initiative, and what I love about the concept is that we're not a one-trick pony. It's all about how many different initiatives we can do, and it's just super exciting. So one of the partnerships we're doing up in, as you know, I moved up to Murrieta, and we're expanding our support network, and I've met this amazing woman and leader named Daisy Tate. And she's the president of an organization called the Veteran Supplemental Support Network. And what's crazy about her organization is really focused on giving back in a different facet. So we're focused on education and the transitioning. Her focus is on helping homeless veterans, counseling, and just helping those who need that, if they need some food to get through to the next paycheck. They're really there to be supplemental support for those veterans. She actually sets up shop in the vet centers, and she's actually works directly with the government. So one of the initiatives that we're going to be putting together coming up, I was just going to kind of save the date right here, is September 18th. We're going to be organizing a charity golf tournament at Palo Mesa Golf Resort. And the exciting part about that partnership is, you know, VSSN is a nationwide company, but they're headquarters out of Murrieta. We, of course, started groundbreaking in San Diego, and so Palo Mesa is a good meet-in-the-middle location, and we're going to be getting a bunch of business together to raise money for a potential for housing transitioning veterans. Yeah. So more to follow on that, but it's very exciting. We have some great things to look forward to in the future with our partnership with VSSN.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we're looking at bringing Daisy Tate on board the show, probably be coming up in the upcoming months or so. But the great thing, also talk about the VFW, the other different things.
Yeah. So up there, we just learned that in Murrieta, since I relocated up there, it's crazy. You know, I always thought that San Diego was like the hub of all military, but then you go up there and you realize that Camp Pendleton, March Air Force Base, and San Diego, everybody moves up there, and there's a huge veteran platform up there. So I've been working closely. I think we had the VFW, commander of the VFW there in Temecula Valley on the show in the past.
That was awesome.
We had the Commandant of the Marine Corps League on the show. I've been working closely with also the the commander of the Navy League up there. So we're just working with closely with a lot of these veteran organizations up there just to help as many veterans as possible. I even got to do a shout out for the mayor of Marietta, who is actually an Air Force veteran himself, who we've been working closely with to do some different events. I think this Christmas even we're doing an initiative with the city to actually decorate trees, Christmas trees, and donate them out to veterans who veteran families can't afford a Christmas tree. So it's the little things that count.
Amazing stuff. You guys are doing so much good work. Thank you so much for your service to the country, and you continuing to serve in such great ways, those who are serving and have served as well. Just amazing stuff. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, Derek.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free.
Our next guest is here, and as always, he has a lot to say, and it looks like they're already rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Paul.
You were, you did a spring break with the kids. You also boot and shoot.
Yeah,
Haven't
boot
seen you
and
since
shoot
then.
was awesome, man. We've talked about it on the Veteran Advocate page, and we talked a little bit about it here on the show as well. So we finally had the event, and with the dinner the night before, like I want to say about 700-800 people at the dinner, and the next day of the event we had a couple thousand people at the event. And the results are in, and we grossed over $1 million.
That's incredible.
So it's amazing. That was our goal, and we hit it. And there's tremendous resources that go into this, and super grateful for everybody who participated and made contributions. We talked about on the Veteran Advocate page, I believe also here, people who made a donation of $100 or more, we get a free copy of Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, signed.
Man.
And there it is. I got them. I just picked them up the other day.
Ooh, let me see that.
Signed copy. This one's for you, buddy.
Dang.
So
that's right.
There's your signed copy.
Oh, wow. That is cool. Let
Own
me
it.
see this in my shot. Good to go. That is awesome. That's Jocko right there. He says, own it, Jocko. Very, very cool.
Thank you to my brother Jocko for, I bought a ton of these books and he signed them all. So thank you, man, for doing that. And thank you to everybody who participated to make a contribution. This money, as we've talked about in the past, is going to fund scholarships for veterans with TBI and PTSD to get brain treatment at the Brain Treatment Foundation, applying all kinds of different treatments and modalities for veterans in ways that they're not able to get it at the VA or other means. So,
and this particular year was they were honoring Mikey Mansour.
Mikey Mansour, yep. So we had the Mansour family out there, and I believe it was a tremendous event. This is a shirt from the event, by the way. Got the a patch here that resembles the pin from the USS Michael Mansour, DDG 1001, that'll be commissioned in 2018. An amazing Zumwalt class destroyer, incredible ship, honoring Michael Mansour's legacy, and proud to just kind of be able to even be involved with that ship, by the way, and helping to instill some of what Mikey's legacy was with the crew. I've been able to spend some time with the crew of the USS Mansour. The commanding officer has been fantastic, and he's really, really interested in making sure that he captures the life and legacy of Mikey, and he instills that into the culture of the ship as it's being built.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, truly amazing. So appreciate that. And yeah, so the event was awesome. Raised a ton of money. We're going to help a ton of veterans.
When you walked in earlier today, you said you wanted to talk about BOZOS in the mortgage business.
BOZOS, BOZOS. This is yeah. So this is something I see, and I've seen it for a long time. And if you're watching this, whether it be on TV or on the Facebook page or whatever, something that frustrates me as a veteran and somebody who's in the mortgage business is when I see people, I'll just call them bad actors in the business. I mean, people who have bad intentions, who overcharge, who take advantage of veterans. They've got fancy marketing, throw an American flag on their business card or on their website, throw a patriotic theme, and the veteran and the consumer has a hard time distinguishing between somebody who's just got fancy marketing and perhaps somebody who really knows what they're doing. I mean, if you're looking about buying a house and using a VA loan, and you're working with a company because they've got a great flag or they've got some nondescript dude on the front page of their website wearing fatigues, don't assume that that person knows how to do VA loans. I mean, how many VA loans did that person actually do last year? 4? 10? I mean, a couple here and there doesn't make you an expert. And that's the thing that I think consumers have a hard time distinguishing between.
How do veterans get hurt by that? You know, let's say, you know, so I mean, 'cause I think a lot of people think, well, loan here, loan there, it's all the same. You know, maybe you know, these guys are charging me a little more fees, but oh, I liked him, that's okay. I mean, how does it actually affect and harm their financial picture?
Well, there's a lot of nuances to the VA loan. And so if your loan officer or company doesn't do a thorough pre-approval before you go start writing offers, they may run into roadblocks and find things out while you're already under contract. So you think you're good and you write an offer, and 10, 15 days into the process, they're coming back to you with problems. Oh, sorry, it looks like we can't do this loan for you anymore. And you end up even having to cancel, or they end up saying, well, now we have to change this or change that. It's going to cost you more. You may lose your deposit. So not doing a thorough job up front because they don't know what things to look for or what kind of questions to ask. A real simple one, just being a veteran, especially working with somebody who's on active duty, I know the lifestyle of a person who's serving. You're gone all the time. And does your loan officer think to ask you, hey, are you going to be underway at the time of closing? Are you going to be out of town for any reason, training or deploying anytime soon? And you as a veteran or somebody who's on active duty may not, you're like, well, I'm leaving in 2 weeks, I'm going to be gone for a month. Is that a big deal? Yeah, that's a big deal. We have to get a special power of attorney. And the VA has some specific guidelines of what has to be in that power of attorney. And so if that question isn't, for example, asked up front and properly prepared for, it's going to screw up your closing. And somebody who doesn't really understand the lifestyle of a veteran may not even think to ask that question, and you may not realize that it's a big deal as it pertains to the loan. So you've got to work with somebody who really understands all those nuances and moving parts to really quarterback the entire transaction and get you across the finish line in a timely manner, accurately, and looking out for your best interest.
Yeah, it's tough too, because you're right. There are a lot of people who've gotten on the bandwagon. If you call it, remember, VA loans 20 years ago were like totally, there was dust on them. I mean, no one was using them. They didn't know, people didn't understand them. Realtors didn't offer it. Lenders hardly didn't do it either. And then about 15 years ago, it became a little more popular. Government loans started making their way back. The FHA loan came into play, and VA loan. People were saying, oh, VA. Yeah. But still, a lot of lenders were taking veterans away from VA into conventional loans, which is also something I think that you'll notice that a lot of these companies are doing. They're taking people away from them. It's an amazing loan. You should use it, but not all companies are offering the same deal. It isn't the same. Even though it's through the VA, it's not the same deal.
So just a point of clarity, you don't get your VA loan from the VA. Okay, the VA does, in very rare circumstances, do a loan. That's called a VA direct loan. And really the only direct loans VA does anymore is for American Indians. When 99.99% of VA loans, I mean, this is it, you don't get your loan from the VA. You get your loan from a bank, okay? And then the VA insures the loan. When a problem occurs, a lot of times these banks like to blame the VA. Well, the VA said this or the VA said that. The reality is the VA is not involved in the loan process except for in a very small handful of situations. Joint loans, for example, 2 veterans buying together. The VA does get involved with that. But other than that, the entire process is handled by that bank. And for most banks, they do like 1 out of 10 loans as a VA loan maybe. So does doing something a couple of times make you an expert? Absolutely not. That's a big problem, by the way, that we have with real estate agents here in Southern California. A lot of real estate agents here in Southern California are not pros. They're not professionals. Here's why. They only do a couple of transactions a year. Because our average transaction size is so large in Southern California, one deal, a realtor may make $15,000 on that one deal. So there's a lot of agents sticking around in the business, and they're amateurs. They close 4 deals a year because, hey, if they happen to close, that's one loan every 3 to 4 months, and they may bring in 60 grand. Doing something 4 times in a year does not make you a pro. Now, in other parts of the country where you make very little on each transaction because each transaction is much smaller, you have to do a lot of deals just to make a living. So when you do something a lot of times over and over again, you become good at it. So whether you're buying a house or getting a loan, you gotta work with somebody who knows what they're doing. Ask them, how many transactions do you do a year? And are you really involved in the transaction? Do you really know what you're doing? You may end up finding somebody who's got fancy marketing, and it turns out they did it a couple times last year, and you're gonna trust this massive financial transaction to someone who's only done it a couple of times? That's where you can find yourself getting hurt or into a situation that could have been avoided if you had worked with a real pro.
Yeah, totally agree. And I tell you what, if I was getting a VA loan, Andrew, I would call you.
Appreciate it, buddy.
I would definitely call you, man.
First step for you, buddy, go down and
I was gonna say I gotta go sign
right.
up.
Go serve the country. 90 days of service, eligible for a VA loan. Another little tidbit for you.
All right, great stuff, man.
All right, buddy.
I appreciate your time today, as always. Fantastic having you here, and of course, this is now we're in the Facebook side of the segment, so we can just kind of sign off however we want. Do we want to do an awkward sign off, or we could just say this? You missed out on your chance to get a book signed, but it's still a great book. Check it out on Amazon. Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willink. And if you did donate $100, like I did, to the Boot and Shoot, you get yours signed, like I did.
Own it.
Nan, nan, and boo boo. I'm owning it. All right, we can cut.
The champ is here with some pretty interesting topics, so good you just have to keep listening to find out. Please welcome the owner of Story Estates, Elizabeth Story.
All right, and she's back. The champ is in the house. Elizabeth Story, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Great to have you here. Now, I know we've got a lot of people intrigued.
Yes.
Because, myself included, how can you sell your home without paying a commission?
Magic. Also, we have a platform that we're offering. I'm part of Alice and James Elite. Story Estates is part of Alice and James Elite. And we have partnered with an auction platform where we're able to list the homes. We can get up to 75,000 more unique visitors than all the other sites combined. And we're able to put the home on the auction platform without having to charge the seller any commissions.
Okay, so when I hear the word auction, I immediately think that's good for the buyer, right? Auctions are where you go to buy stuff for cheap. So explain how this would be different.
So we actually, the transverse of that, there's reasons why it's good for both the buyer and the seller. Anybody who has ever gone to a sale, you usually go and you spend more money when things are on sale. Or you've heard of the auction effect. Well, there's a reason why the term was coined to begin with. The auction effect, where you're trying to outbid other people. Sometimes it may actually create this desire for something even more so, you know, when you do the takeaway, so you might actually end up spending more money than you would if it hadn't been on auction. So that's where it's good for the seller. Furthermore, it's a traditional retail listing. We set the auction date, and then we go ahead and we can still hold open houses. We can still accept offers before the auction, but we can also, if we don't get offers before the auction, we can go ahead and do the auction platform. And what it also does for the buyer is it creates transparency. There's a difference between asking price and selling price and market value. Well, when you have a bidding platform where you can see what other people are also willing to pay, then you know the home's true value. And for example, I just accepted an offer on a transaction where we had 7 offers. And I had to call for highest and best. So the buyers are all competing against each other, but they have no idea what other people are submitting. And I've heard it, 1,000 times. If I would have known it would have only taken an extra 500 or an extra 1,000, I would have done it. So now it creates that transparency for the buyer too, where they can see exactly where the home ends up and they can go up to their absolute maximum they're willing to spend.
Okay, so I like the idea of not paying the commission. I'm your seller. I like the idea of not paying the commission, obviously. Yeah. Top market, I kind of feel like, hey, maybe I shouldn't have to pay a commission, all right? But someone's got to pay it.
Right.
So how does that work?
It gets built into the buyer's purchase price.
Gotcha.
So the price that we put on for the auction, and then there's a 5% surcharge that goes to the buyer. And that ends up getting distributed in a way to make so that there are commissions that get paid, but they just don't come out of the seller's side of the transaction.
Gotcha. So the buyer pays for it, basically.
Basically. Okay.
And so what happens there then? Now, if I'm the seller, I set a price and say I want to get at least this much, or how much say do I have? Are we committed to whatever the highest price is, or how does that work?
Exactly, and so the seller still maintains absolute control. They still have veto power over any offer. They can set their minimum, and they can still review offers and reject them as well. So it's a platform to help you receive and collect more offers, but your hands aren't tied. So as a seller, you still maintain control over what you want to make at the end of the day. And let's say if you don't get your price that you want on the first auction, we can auction it again.
Gotcha. Okay, so you go through the normal price, we list the home, we do the open houses. Let's say some offers come in. Do we just tell those people who write the offers that, hey, we're going to be holding the auction at this time, show up and make your offers there, or can you just take the offers and insert them into the auction? How does that work?
You can take the offers. We can take the offers and postpone the auction, or not do the auction at all. So let's say, let's use nice round numbers. Let's say you want to sell for $1 million. You get an offer for $995, you counter, they come up to $1 million and you're happy, then you can postpone the auction or cancel it altogether. You're still bound by the auction terms, but that's okay because you got the price that you wanted and you're happy.
Have you talked to sellers about this? I mean, I'm sure you have, obviously. What's their feedback been on it? Do they get it?
Not everyone does. It's not for everyone. It's still pretty cutting edge. There's other brokerages that have brought similar things. Harcourt's was a big overseas brokerage. They've come to the States. They've started doing their auctions, and this is a unique platform, different than the Harcourt's platform, and they've had success with it. And there are sellers who are on the cutting edge, who are trendsetters, who are interested in it. We're looking to see if millennials are also interested in it because they're so tech savvy and they like to do everything online. So it's just yet another tool to stay on the cutting edge and change the face of real estate. But it's not for everyone. Some people, there are certain buyers who don't like the competition. So it's definitely for people who, want the competitive edge and also want transparency in their transaction.
It would seem to me that it would work really well if you had a hot property. In other words, if you had a home that was turnkey, updated, in a desirable area, that would be sort of the perfect home to put, because there's a lot of demand there. People will line up out the door pretty much no matter what you say for those types of homes right now in this market. So to auction in that type of home to me would make a whole lot of sense. Yeah. You would be able to really get the maximum amount that someone was willing to pay, it would seem. But I could also see, what would the downside be? What's the downside to this thing?
There really isn't. There isn't a downside, especially considering once again that if you don't get the price that you wanted on auction, then you don't have to sell it. So there really is no downside. It's just another tool to help you reach a bigger auction platform. So we're having up to 75,000 unique visitors per month to the site. So it's just more exposure.
Okay.
Zillow didn't exist before Zillow got created. Realtor.com didn't exist before Realtor.com got created. There's always new and innovative ways. So this is just one new innovation.
Interesting. What do you think about, speaking of Zillow, let me slide this in here. What do you think about the coming soon, or what is it called? Preview before you sell on Zillow. What is it called?
Yeah. So Zillow, they've been in fierce competition. So Zillow bought Trulia. I'm sure everybody knows that by now. So Zillow and Trulia are part of the same group. And then Realtor.com. Those are the main two players nowadays. And in the past, Zillow, you were allowed to manually enter listings. Well, what happened is it started creating phishing. There was some fraud. There was duplication. Consumers complained about the accuracy of the site. So starting May 1st, Zillow will no longer allow manually entered listings. They need to come from MLS feeds. However, they will still allow coming soon ads.
Yeah, yes. Coming soons. What do you think about that?
Well, I think if you know how to work the system, it won't affect you at all because you always just put it on Zillow first. Shh, don't tell anyone.
Do you think that it's a potential issue with Zillow using their platform to be like essentially the MLS? In other words, where agents might say, well, let's just put it over here, photos and everything, like it's ready to go. It's not coming soon, it's ready to be on the market, but we're putting it on Zillow first. Do you think there's any potential conflicts or issues there?
No, overarchingly, the trend that I have seen, especially in the last few years, is that people want representation. And agents who are attempting to double end a transaction by keeping it off the MLS, sooner or later they're going to get a call from somebody else's agent, and it's usually sooner. Because people nowadays, they like having their own agent, they like having representation. Not everybody's running around trying to look to work through their listing agent. So,
okay.
And the other thing, I really don't know why Zillow's doing that, because we already have an MLS. We don't need another MLS.
Right.
Zillow used to be its own thing. The minute that Zillow becomes just like the MLS and we're bound by all the same restrictions, then I'm not as enticed to use it the way that I have in the past. So honestly, I don't really know that it's a smart move.
Okay, interesting perspective. I'm glad I asked you the question. The champ, Elizabeth's story, everybody. Of course, stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
I tried pulling on my leash and there was nothing, and it was pitch black. And I just realized that I had to relax and wait. You know, my body will bring me to the surface. I'm buoyant, so just kind of calmed down and then made my way to shore, and it scared the daylights out of me. So ever since that moment, I've realized that I need to check the reports, and I need to be on top of conditions and what's going on, and also not surf alone is one really important rule. I rely on surfing for my mental escape day to day, and waves and wave observations are really important so I can know where to go, how to be safe about it, and maybe where to go to get the most efficient surf. So yeah, knowing the conditions has become part of my regular everyday routine. The Coastal Data Information Program, or CDIP, maintains over 60 buoys around the entire U.S. that capture information on waves and temperature, and these buoys also contribute to beach studies. In addition to buoys around the U.S., we have buoys in the Marshall Islands, Guam, and Puerto Rico. I was hired as the Public Relations Coordinator for CDIP. And basically, I make sure that the public is well informed on how to use the data, and that government understands how important it is to our users. We have a range of users, from the military to surfers to engineers and planners, and so many more. So in addition to the work I do with the wave buoys, I use the wave buoys to look at local conditions. The buoys are providing real-time measurements.
Hey, great show, guys. That's a wrap. Jade, what's your schedule look like? Do you mind breaking down the set?
Not today, Derek. I'd love to, but there's waves out there. I gotta go.
No, I can't either. I'm starting to get hangry and I have way too much stuff to do today. Claudia, you've got this, right?
Sure, guys. I would love to. I'll get right to work.